I know that you guys have got a sheet of paper about who does what. I'm just going to give you a little bit about my little story, and then we're going to go into it because I know because I have severe ADD, and I know that you're only going to pay attention to me for so long because I'm the same way. So I don't talk long. I really don't. And so, but I'll tell you that my story is that, you know, I was just like a lot of you in here. I had a very troubled school, and in fact, in 7th grade, they decided that they were going to put me in the LD class, and I got put in the learning disabled class, and they tried to be sneaky about it, and in the terms of like, oh, you're not really in the learning disabled class, this is just a special class. But I knew that if I had 6 people in my English class, that I was in the LD class, and I knew that if all of my friends had a silver map book and I had a purple workbook, that was, you know, I knew what it was. And so what happened is that I was walking down the hallway and I saw on the bulletin board that there was a spelling bee. And I said, you know, one thing that we couldn't do in my house is my mama would never let us, if you didn't make 100 on the spelling test when we was younger, you couldn't do nothing the whole weekend. I couldn't play football, I couldn't do nothing. None of the things that we wanted to do. So, and if you had to make 100, and you couldn't make a 95 to 98, you had to make 100. So one thing I knew I could do, even though if I was learning disabled, I knew I could spell. So I was like, I'm going to try it for the spelling bee. The teacher was like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And I won the spelling bee. So then they were like, maybe he's not learning disabled. So then they took me out of the learning disabled class. And they were like, oh, he's got ADHD. And so then they were like, oh, okay. So they brought my mom down. And they were like, oh, well, you probably need to go send him to a psychiatrist because he's so he can get diagnosed. And I got a true black mama, and so she was like, the only people crazy in here is y'all. The only thing that's wrong with my son is he's lazy, but he won't be lazy tomorrow. And so that was kind of how that happened. And so all my life, people were like telling me things I couldn't do. They were like, I tried out for the band, and I was like, they were like, you can't do it. You're not focused enough. And then I was the drum major of the band. And then I was the student council president. And then all of these things. And people always told me what I couldn't do. I never was great in school. I just wasn't. When I struggled because of my focus. And those who have the same thing, I don't call it a disorder. I call it a difference. And because I don't think I have a disorder. I think I just learn differently. And I do things differently. And I'm always on the go. I might be late. I might lose my keys. I might have mismatched socks on because I do. And whatever you got to do, get out of the house. That's what I do. And so and I'm still the same way. And ADD is my reality, but I didn't let it become my destiny. All of you in here have a reality that you have to deal with. Whether the reality is that you have a single parent and you grow up in poverty, or whether we have drug addictions, or whatever what we have going on, whether it's, whether you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to gain weight, or whether you're trying to make a basketball team, we all have our realities. The destiny is always created within you. You can always do anything that you want to do. The very mere fact, and you can ask any one of my friends and teachers, if they would have said, Marcus Brandon would have been an elected official, a state representative, they would all have laughed in your face. And that is a fact. I'm the last person that should be standing here today. I had a 1.8 grade point average when I graduated from high school. 1.8. And I got into A&T because my uncle got me to A&T. I didn't understand it. I took the acceptance letter to my guidance counselor, and she said, how did this happen? And that's exactly her words. She couldn't believe I got accepted to college, and neither could I. But I had an inside connection at A&T, and my uncle got me in, and then that's how I got into college. And I still have not graduated from college. And I'm still an elected official. My reality is I haven't graduated from college. My destiny is that I will. So at some point, that I will be able to do that. So I just want you guys to know that there will be lots of things that in your life that will hinder progress, but it's only you that will stop it. Life throws you a lot of curveballs. Life will throw you all types of stuff. And no matter what income bracket you come from, no matter what your race is, it doesn't matter who you are, life comes up to you. There are people who are rich that will come home and their child might have committed suicide, or their child is on drugs, or you, there are people who are poor who will have the same exact problem. Life will always throw you curveballs. You will always have realities that will try to affect your outcome, but your destiny, where you end up, will always ultimately end up what you do to change that. God always has a plan for everybody's life, and it's up to you whether you get there or not. And I tell my nephews this, because their mother committed suicide, and their dad, my brother, is a deadbeat dad, and they feel like they have the worst life, and I try to let them know, guess what? Don't nobody care. At the end of the day, when you sit there in front of the employer, nobody's going to take account for what your past was and how bad your parents were or any of that. Nobody. I told them, I understand. You had a hard childhood. I understand we lost your mother when you were 10. I understand your daddy has not been here. I understand you've been from household to household. I understand all of that, and I love you like since the first day you was born. But at the end of the day, when you sit down in front of that employer, they don't care about that. They want to know what you can do. And so there's two parts of that. There's an advantage and a disadvantage. The disadvantage is they don't know your story. The advantage is they don't know your story. So all of these things that you think in your head that will hinder you, the employer does not care. They want to know, can you do the work? Do you have the skills to do the work? They're not worried about your childhood. They're not worried about your past. They're not worried about your transgressions. They're not worried about any of those things. Only thing they want to know is so you get a clean slate bill. So you can walk into that employer with your chest out, head up, and say, I can do this job. And guess what? It does not matter what happened before. None of that. Only you can create your destiny. Only you can be able to decide where you go. And nobody else can do that. You can decide to fail or you can decide to succeed. Those are your choices. And it is a choice. And that's it. That's all you have is a choice. So that's my story. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my job. I make laws. Whenever I do the same thing that you guys were doing today, whenever I sit around and I think about things that I don't like, things I want to improve, and I can make a bill. And that's one of your questions on your sheet. Is that that's what I do. And then my day is much like yours. It starts out at 8 o'clock in the morning. I go to what we call committees, and those are called this much like classrooms. And I serve on the committee of education. I'm the vice chair of education committee, and I'm on transportation and government and appropriations. And that's the appropriations committee is how we spend the money. Everybody's either on appropriations or finance. You're either one or the other. Finance is how we bring in the money, and appropriations is how we spend the money. And I felt like since I could spend money, that would be a better committee for me to be on, is the appropriations side. So I took the appropriations committee. So we go to these classes every day, and then at the end of the day, we come together like an assembly, and we discuss the bills that we did in class and committee, and then and everybody has to vote on the bill. So that's how a bill becomes a law. I take an idea. I say I want all kids to be able to not have to wear small clothing, and I write that on the bill, and then it goes to the education committee. The education committee says yes or no, and if the education committee says yes, then it goes to the full house. And how many people know that there's a House and a Senate in North Carolina General Assembly, right? So it has to go to the full house. If my bill passes the House, then it has to go through the same process over in the Senate. It has to go to the Education Committee in the Senate, and then it has to go to the full floor in the Senate, and then the governor has to sign the law. So it has to go through both the House, Senate, and then the governor has to sign the law. So it's really hard to pass a bill, because then you've got 120 members in the North Carolina House that I've got to agree with me. I've got to get at least 61 of those people to agree with me. And then when you go to the Senate, there is about 70-something of those. And so you got to get half of them, or plus one, to agree with you. And then the governor has to sign it. And if the governor doesn't sign it, he can veto the bill. And he says, I don't like your bill. I want all kids to wear small clothing. So he vetoes my bill. Then it has to go back to the same process, but you have to get 2/3 majority to overrun. So before I only needed 61 out of 120 people, but now I'm going to need 72 people. I have to have 2/3 of the people to be able to override the governor's veto in order for my bill to become law. So that's how a bill becomes a law. And that's what I do all year long, is write bills and try to pass And we have approximately 1,400 bills that went through the General Assembly this year, and only about 200 of them passed. So everybody has an idea, everybody thinks it's a good idea, and you have to get it, the game is, can you get it passed? Can your idea make it through? And so, and we have lots of debate about what is a good idea and what's a bad idea, and what things work for our state and what things don't work for our state. So that's what we do. So what I was going to let you guys do, I didn't have to talk all the time, I was going to let you guys create your own bill. And I promise you, like I promise all my classes, is that I always take all bills and I introduce the bill. I introduce your bill and as one of my bills, and I'll send it to you, and I'll fight to get it passed if it's a legitimate bill. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to have a discussion about like how I want you guys to give me things that you can do that I can do, and this is for me because I'm your representative. What do you think is the biggest problems in your school or in your community that would need a law to make that to be changed? And this is a great opportunity for you, by the way, because you got a lawmaker here. But there are things that when you walk through your school and you're like, I can't stand this, and this is wrong. Or you walk in through your community and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. All of this right here, all of this right here doesn't make sense to me. What are those things? And let's talk about them. And we're going to do a bill, and we're going to see if your bill passes. If your bill passes, if your bill does not pass, the thing. But y'all give me some things that you think that would ease away. I would thump them on the forehead if he closes his eyes. But listen, tell me some things that you think that is in your school or your community that needs to be changed. I would like to do this way.
You got to write it down?
Yes, if you could take 2 minutes and actually fill the form, it has 3 questions, and that is the first question.
Like the real, how many people we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
For my purpose, please write it down.
It says that. But listen, you can do this. Do you want to do it in groups or not?
Yeah.
Y'all want to do this in groups? Can we?
Fine.
Y'all want to be like the General Assembly, and then you have one group versus another, and y'all try to we can do this.
Yes, we can do that.
Y'all do that. Let's do that. Do 2 groups.
Okay, I'm going to give you numbers.
You
1.
guys thank him because he totally just stole one of
Number
my
2.
sons that y'all getting ready to have next week.
Number 1. Number 2.
If you decide to run the living thing, Miss Parker will come.
Hell,
Number 1, 2,
I'm not working
1,
with no
2.
dude. I'm gonna let you know.
Say again?
I ain't working with no dude.
Okay, since you guys
You're
are
not going to
good.
work with any dude?
What did you?
All right, so you work.
I'm 2.
I'm so too.
No, you're going to be 1.
I'm going to be 1.
You're going to, how about I just select your groups? You and her.
No,
You and him?
no, I'm already over here. It's over with.
Okay.
Yeah.
You and her.
All right, come on, this shit.
These 2. You 2.
So how do you get up try to say you work my man over here?
No, why you just can't sit your butt right here in front of me?
Because he just.
Guys,
So why don't you just decide?
We're going to do 2 large groups. I do
She
apologize.
doing too much.
So if I give you 1, you go to the right side. If I give you a 2, go to your left.
Real quick, real quick.
I just don't work with dudes. As long as I work with female, I'm good. So who's gonna work?
It's
Oh,
going to be a
to the
female
right.
and a group.
Okay, 1 to the right. 1 on the right, 2 on the left.
All right, so we got 1, 2, 3.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Oh.
Women, what's his name?
That's Kendall.
Kendall. Can you come up to the second seat?
So do we have to answer this right now? Or-
Just jot it down before you leave, and just put your name at the top.
So do we speak out loud?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to talk.
What I would like for you guys to do is just do like. Okay? Because what you're going, listen up real quick, because you have 2 groups. The question that you have on your sheet, you can write that down because Mr. Wells needs it. But what I want you to do is in a group. This is going to be a group bill. So think of it like Democrats, Republican, but you can name your group whatever group you want it to be. But you have to convince the other side of your bill. Everybody has to vote on the bill. Everybody has to vote on the bill. So I want you guys to come up in your group setting together to decide what bill you want to introduce that will improve your school or improve your community. All right? And everybody has to participate in the group. All right? What's my man? The ladies' man. Everybody look at me. The other thing is you gotta you gotta give me 3 reasons why you support the bill.
What that said?
If there's any extra question that he asks, just write them at the top of the sheet.
No, that's I know, I wouldn't, I would take it on my phone already.
Oh, yeah, you can't just like check out.
No, electronics, that's not,
I don't know to check out.
I did, that's me, I like it.
put that on paper, but without doing. Would you do electronics?
Yeah, like,
Thank you.
sometimes you just like say, you're like, oh, you need a card,
Mr. Green, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
He said electronics,
you check out.
Like what?
like phones, using your phone to school.
Using your phones. You gotta have everybody agree.
Oh, so that's how we do it. No, but I would.
So y'all say no?
You can't stay focusing on tab.
I'm on tag.
You know what I'm saying? I would tag you though. I would not.
I listen to music and I.
If you have electronics school, they're gonna be like, I do that. Yeah.
That's a law.
That's gonna.
Yeah, that's over. That means you're gonna cheat.
All right, well, think about something else, think about something else. Come up with
You gotta have 3
some other possibility.
You should be able to bring electronics to school.
I found 1 copy of it.
What about buying?
I'm trying to just put it on the regular sheet paper.
Because we have to turn this in.
This is just you see that's like.
Well, my paper's clean.
Okay, little kids are fighting in a group together.
No, not fighting. I don't know. Like, we don't live in
No problem.
to get here.
Maybe,
I'm just listening.
maybe,
No, this is a good. The school should
like,
have
if you get suspended once, you're gonna get suspended again, especially if they just suspend you for 10 days. So I think that if you get suspended
Bring your electronic to school.
for a whole year,
Oh,
So you don't
God.
have to like use like school computers.
just
I'm so
because
crazy.
you wanna fight and
They
then you
probably
get
have like a
everybody
restriction
else
so you
wanna
can't like
fight.
use smart money.
So you're saying
I mean, you
this is
come here
like
for 1 year, it's probably gonna change.
this is a deterrent.
I thought
On the
everything was.
computer and stuff like that, when you can look up something instead of using like these ancient textbooks that
But does it
have
work?
the answers. I mean,
I don't know, it probably does.
I done been here for how many years?
But some people are really good.
yeah, I mean, they can provide like the Wi-Fi, you get like great service, so they can provide the Wi-Fi. But you can do it on like laptop or tablet, or access to Wi-Fi with like a student connection.
But it's not gonna change all the whole.
Okay, so I'm gonna name you the.
Then again, dress code, I wouldn't even go with dress code either, because you know, it's something out there.
Reading the dress code is smart, right?
Now, I'd rather, they go in our
check.
side,
but no checks on, no
yeah.
Well, that's a dress code, that's different.
Who's the leader of the party?
Credits.
Me.
Oh, no, you talk about, having phones and stuff.
Because like listening to music, I mean, where was
But you still gonna be texting.
Like some schools don't.
Then you'll know, oh, I'm not riding in the hallway, you gonna run in the hallway. Say your friend texts
This
you,
is
like,
innovation
hey.
in school, I love it.
But
You gotta have valid reasons.
No, if your friend texts you, if you can bring your phone out of school. If you can bring your phone out of school, yes, and your friend come about to fight in the hallway, come in the hallway, so you're gonna wanna, you know.
Okay, so you got that privilege to go in the hallway.
No, you do not.
Yeah, you do.
Isn't it funny?
You can leave whenever you want to. You can go.
You can go to school, you go to the year of the graduate.
Yeah, you will.
No, I don't like your rules.
Hold on.
No, I don't like your rules. Do you got something to come up with that or
No.
don't worry, you
People are gonna die from like.
see, I agree with that.
I think
I think they should let them break the
He's
catch.
like
Yeah.
Asian man.
These are ratchet. Because I think all my schools are ratchet.
He's like,
Not that.
you can't get sick and shit.
nah, that's
But the fact of the matter is,
That's what they told me. I passed my good
yeah, that's some oxygen.
They were too.
history students.
This girl,
Or, I said, we said, wow, I'm so
party.
No, yeah, we should have like a.
They're probably the best.
Yes.
Yeah, we got that down.
Usually what I do is I have,
See, this is what I'm talking about.
I usually have individual
11 grade, Kelly, you
So I usually have
First
two
of all,
groups working
we're not-
You can't have five.
Companies, you get specific.
I'm talking about with range, why we can't leave off
Nobody
campus?
cares about your opinion. Nobody cares
We
about
not
So, I mean, I don't know why you would have that intense experience in Subway and McDonald's, so.
Right, you should be able to drive.
Like, it's like an international line, and then, like, American.
Did you work hard?
So I've got to teach, you know,
Yeah, it's the same thing. I'm trying to talk to y'all on the floor. Like, y'all can't hear me.
it's not the same.
Basically, you should not get a community because you get the
Okay,
same thing that.
better lunches with bigger portions.
Think I got a deal?
Y'all gonna go for
Let's go
it?
be the leader. Let's go be the leader.
They're trying to write
But
bills.
you gotta stand up and introduce the bill.
No, I would go. I think I'm in the wrong. Do you agree?
in the wrong group.
So what's the
Do you feel like you would be close towards the other group?
They were supposed to go to has to go to the house and sit there.
I've got two right here.
Y'all do not wanna put what I've been putting down. He's saying.
We ain't saying it, we ain't agreeing.
Representative PA.
What do you think?
What was your, graduating and shit.
I'm graduating next year, I'm gonna be about to.
No, I'm telling you. I'm being honest.
What's your last name?
I have myself on.
You know how to do it.
Yes.
Representative Clark, what's your last name?
Yes, you leave it somewhere charged.
Representative Clark.
I'm lying, why they ain't married?
We're going with the permit thing.
Come on, now, I ain't even seen you come in.
Representative Barrett, I'm gonna need you to be on point. I'm gonna need you to, I'm gonna need
Do
you
you have your permit?
to describe one of the
Do you
points.
be driving?
Okay, that's what
So what are y'all looking
That's
at?
what
What's
we're
what
talking
kind
about.
of bill you got?
We got a great
What
one.
are we doing?
Okay, so who's next?
As soon as you said that, everybody wanted.
I'll support it. I'll do it. I like to talk.
No.
Okay, so you gonna do it?
Yeah.
Y'all two gonna do it? Okay, so you gonna do it?
Oh, you want to do it?
Representative PA.
Yeah, it'll like block Instagram and like Twitter and stuff.
How do you, okay, so a couple problems. Number one, how do you, because you can't block it on an individual device, right? You can block the system itself?
No, like it won't like let you like get on the apps and stuff like that.
I'm just wondering if that technology is actually available.
Yeah, it has it in Georgia.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it won't let that you get on the Instagram and stuff like that.
So I have like.
So there, and then the other thing is,
Teams and stuff like
what about students who don't have this
that.
particular, what if they don't have the financial means to get a smartphone or a tablet?
But you,
Maybe you can like check one out the media center, I guess.
no, they do.
Check them out.
Yeah, but that's also a function of money, like what if the school can afford to buy one?
Well, there's one thing that we have been spending a lot of money on this technology recently.
Yeah. Because all the administrators and stuff get like
How come the elementary school get the tablet, we don't?
No,
It's middle school, we even middle school.
no, elementary, because my mom got one. She works at elementary school.
Depends on
Well,
what the
teachers
teachers
are different from students.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
All middle school kids have tablets. Not anymore. But,
Teams like, that's not for They can't do
just
that.
kidding.
Yeah, I was like,
That's not fair. Then you have to be in a formal.
Okay, Representative Epps,
What grade they in?
what'd you say last name?
Grade two and
What'd you say? Representative Barrett? You start. Okay, so this is what's gonna happen. I'm going to get something and I'm gonna say, Representative McLeod, please state the purpose, and you're gonna say, to present my bill. And what's your last name? And you're gonna say the bill, and you're gonna acknowledge Representative.
Oh, yeah, I'm right, I have to get everything.
Okay.
I said uniform.
Okay, so uniforms is the option. What about
For me.
team violence?
What's your name?
So what?
We're not going for that, we're going for the permit.
Representative, you can recognize any of you people.
Being able to drive, like,
Over 450?
no.
Oh, you can have-
Like,
either three
say you
people.
get your permit and stuff, and you gotta have,
You
let's say you have hard stuff, that's not fair, because you're not gonna wanna get up or somebody don't wanna, you know, that's not fair though. But you're just there with the permit.
But they do the testing on it. They do the testing, you have to drive it for 6 hours.
Either way.
Not the
You want to
whole
use
thing.
Look, they're gonna be, I instructed them to post on the your bills, so I'm gonna have to get ready.
I mean, like, that's not fair.
Oh, I'm over there.
They doing the Krispy Kreme donuts.
What you mean?
Oh, yeah, you
You really gonna do that to them like that?
That's what you That's what babyface.
Why you saying that, bro?
Did you see it?
I don't care. I seen
So,
Krispy
do
Kreme.
you think the,
Why do you say otherworldly?
Yeah, bro.
so we'll,
Everybody know who
having a
Krispy Kreme
permit
is.
and being able to drop out a license driver?
What? Shut up. Boy, shut up.
That's what they do. That's an option.
I'm on your side in this situation. Ignorance is
No,
bliss.
Don't let it make.
You know what I'm saying?
He know why I said that.
Look, I've instructed them to.
Please, Eddie.
Bro, I don't say.
I think I'm in the wrong group.
But you're doing your job also.
I think you'll be okay.
And you challenge Representative Howe on the merits of his bill. And if he don't get it through, you see him stand up and say something that ain't right.
So we can just butt in.
You have to raise your hand.
What, this?
I'll say.
That's 2,200. That ain't nothing. Nowhere near compared.
Absolutely nowhere near. Plus your hurt. He said,
This is about more than what.
Oh, yeah, I'm good, y'all.
and you don't ask him a question.
I don't know about global.
Your goal is.
Maybe it's a net.
Don't go.
This nigga said that.
So we gotta make
You're
it.
not.
So, like,
It's just spread
But we
to
the ones that make
Is
that.
it Netherlands, food chain?
yeah, but if it's a good deal, then we all, because we should help each other. At the end of the day,
No, he's talking about we done
I'm
everywhere.
close to that, so you help each other. We call it.
I ain't talking about 2,200.
Why you got it? But if they don't, they don't.
It's all about, because your criticism might give them an idea to change something that could make them feel better.
Motivate to feel better.
Oh, but with the cell phone, you said use cell phone as lunch as skills or something like that. But you said the whole day.
But you're not gonna get your work done.
But then again, that's not gonna work at lunch either, because then you're gonna think about that debt that you just had.
Everybody else not gonna
You shouldn't even be in school. You might not be able to get your work done and be able to do what you want to do at the same time.
I would affect you to social.
I done threw the shit.
Which is really wrong.
That nigga listening to his brother. I don't know what she's trying to find that shit.
Social,
But I know I
how's
threw
it
that.
helping
A different thing.
How's it helping you in classroom? It's helping you in your social.
Yeah, sorry.
No, but it's been like.
So if it's not helping you,
You
then
should have, you should have. What?
it's not
They
helping.
always have
But you don't got all you.
That's their name.
I mean, I know the.
They mom named them salt and pepper.
You know what to do when you're doing your work.
They call it salt and pepper like
So maybe doing right silent reading, maybe?
you gonna be salty.
There's, I think that should be
Everywhere they go.
a
Different cars,
like all day, that's over excessive.
No.
But number two, you
I
have
mean,
to.
That's a track star.
Number two, I'm just saying, like,
That's a track star.
Well, explain what you get out of the question, but more, I don't know.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, what?
Coke be like, you. Yes, we.
You guys ready?
Well, if you think that's a,
Actually, just gotta like,
a noble deal, so why
okay, so
don't
what's
you
the name?
defend why support, why is that?
But
But I get where they're coming from, though, it's gonna be a distraction.
say you in regular school, or like,
It's gonna
say
be a
you in
distraction.
No, this is not, he just went over it.
here.
This is just the one bill right here. What's the name of the building?
We ain't never had.
Okay,
But
why don't you go
say
back
you,
up there?
yeah, because say you have a sister or
What's the
brother in
bill
school,
do
they got to
Electronic
fight,
education.
or have to fight or something
Yeah,
like that,
sure.
you're gonna run out of the classroom, you're not gonna
That's
be sure.
another thing.
Bill for
How you
electronic
get
education.
charged for having
All right, and what does it do?
Okay, now you can go to the
Wi-Fi in
next
all the
one.
schools, and
No, I think they shouldn't have a charge because you're doing stuff.
No, I
Bring
don't
your
think you should have a
bring your
charge
electronics.
You shouldn't have to charge kids.
If you have to go to scale, that's
If
like,
you're trying to fight somebody because they just don't like you, they want to talk about you, you should.
So you said they actually did this in Georgia?
No, that's
And
ridiculous.
how did it work for us?
What's the county called?
Try to give me a G-Five to you.
No, it's, no, the county in Georgia, that they did it. It wasn't a country, it was like outside of Atlanta in one of the country or towns or whatever.
No, it's
And they
in
passed it or whatever, and they let,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't cop, it was over there in Villarica, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
So they passed it or whatever, and, they let the kids like bring their electronics to school or whatever, and,
So
one of the problems was like, after they started doing that, like, the schools like Wi-Fi and stuff like that, and like the internet and stuff, was shut down and stuff because there were so many people on it at one time. And another thing was like, people were like getting their stuff stolen, or like, and stuff like that. You don't have anywhere to put it when you want to change out, you just gotta put it in your locker, but
Because I wanna be.
So we got three potential bills. So we got dress code, team violence, and we have.
You know what it's called? Jill?
Oh, yeah, we have.
You know what we call that?
I'm for that, I ain't trying to doubt.
We call
so
that.
yeah, like kids are just like in their stuff all out of lockers. So they said it was like really helpful because
You got.
they don't have to keep buying textbooks every year. They said they're gonna buy like
No,
Online
16.
yeah.
Yeah, what?
And they're gonna let kids in the computer lab. You can take your iPad or whatever to the computer lab to the library and do work.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said for,
Y'all already up.
ask the question and then Google it, right?
So it's not.
Oh,
How do
shit, go ahead.
you, okay, so for instance, what if you're doing a test? Do you have to take up everybody's phone before a test?
Yes.
Is that what they actually do?
No, well, that would be a law of mine. I don't know if they actually do that. That's
Okay, we got 2 more minutes. Y'all gotta get it together. Get it together. Be ready to present 2 minutes. We ready?
Yeah.
Page.
bars.
You guys are not exactly hard like me.
I mean, it works, but it works.
So how do you make a living outside of?
Hold on, this is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a cash.
I'm not even talking about y'all, right?
What did, Representative Brandon said earlier?
So look, James is ready.
So you got our kids?
He said something like.
All right.
No fault.
Good luck.
So who's the
Oh, I just always thought.
I'm gonna fight babyface today. Like,
No, I'm not.
Retired and rich, you only get 2 years. And that does not represent most people.
Just change it.
I smashed it. I called up police.
But that's only one reason, they still fight.
Split it once again.
Uniform, because I was wearing uniform before, I mean, 6 straight, and I still got one.
Talking about in the hood. I mean, when they kicked it, no, when you pushed the door, it took off. Yeah.
No, we have regular clothes.
I was right.
Yeah, I think the girl coming here.
It was just the guy. Sunday. She
I would absolutely be for
that's why we went to the
legislation to raise the salary
She
of state
was singing, but she got her
property
big shit with that.
because that will allow them to live. Exactly.
Don't have to
You made
sweat.
40,000.
Jump off there.
From my whole and shoot, I mean, I'd be interested, honestly, but I just can't do it.
The deal is, yeah, it's swear to God. I was just up there the other day. I was Sunday. I was just up there. Yeah.
Like, which one of the 3? I don't know that one.
Well, at least you know one.
I don't understand.
At least you know one.
He got to drop wheel off over here.
It's all like it's
It's out of here.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He got crazy.
That's not going down. Have to go to the house.
so I have a pen.
Y'all ready?
All right, we ready?
No.
Representative McLeod?
He needs my team insurance.
Thought I was lying.
You know the idea though, right?
Representative McLeod, are you requesting more time?
Oh no, we're good. What is that, Facebook?
How does it still got?
No, not Facebook.
You're not gonna get on Facebook in school.
Well, what if you finish with your work?
Bro, you can just get off the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's what we need. Like get off the Wi-Fi.
Nah, bro, I got that LTE.
When our school had Wi-Fi, but we weren't allowed to like use like tools.
I know
Like Wi-Fi, like Snapchat.
Yeah. Like at Morgan, people like be sneaking the Wi-Fi for them.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
certain people.
It was like our password was like our principal's last name was like the number 1. It was like Kelly 1. access code, you know how you log onto the regular school computers? Your access code would be your student ID, your information.
Okay, so that means you can text, you know, you can,
No, it blocks like cell service, so like regular stuff.
okay, but still on Wi-Fi, you can get a fake number when you really.
Google
People
Voice.
thingies, you know.
Yield the floor to Representative Harris.
Ms. Representative Harris, you have the floor.
Take care of that.
Addressing the situation of the code, each student will individually write the code into their own device. And it'll be one universal code for the whole school.
That's not answering my question.
What is your question?
Like,
What is your question?
you can still download an app with text to other people. Yep, right. Like, that's still using Wi-Fi. People do that.
I'm so surprised you guys are letting them get away with this.
Restrictions.
Like you wouldn't be able to get on the App Store.
Come on,
Something
team.
like that, and use like
Come
that.
on.
On the Wi-Fi, you can set certain restrictions, not allowing certain apps, including using the App Store to download these certain apps.
So
How would you
basically
get that
it's
done?
That's something that comes.
How would you get that done?
Representative P, please state your
How would
purpose.
you do that?
As part of the Wi-Fi.
Ask
Like some of the process?
him.
I don't know the process.
You don't know the process, how you gonna get it done?
We have to wait till they get there. Okay. Did you have a question, Brenda?
No, I asked him.
Okay. All right. I think that you should, Representative Pete has a question for Representative. Representative McLeod, you're on the hot seat again, but do you yield? You don't have to yield.
I'll yield.
Okay.
Well, so basically it's blocked like on regular Gifford County computers. So basically the apps, the text message apps, phone call apps, Facebook apps, Instagram apps, any Twitter, all that is blocked just like on.
Yeah, it's blocked just like on a regular computer, except the only benefit is that you can just do it on your phone.
But you can still get on YouTube on that computer.
Yeah, you can't get on YouTube on your phone.
Oh, just a damn, bro. It's a damn.
Yeah, you can. You can get on it.
Okay, so just so we can wrap this up, so we can go to the next bill, I want you to know that this is exactly the conversation that we have. I'm on the digital learning committee. The same exact conversation. You have one? Go ahead.
Okay, I just want, but it's gonna be, so what's the whole point of having a phone in school if it's gonna be the same thing as a computer?
If it's going to be said, you are almost where I wanted your group to be anyway. What I want your group is to say, what's wrong with being on Twitter? What's wrong with being on Facebook? And what's wrong with getting a text message? What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Tell me what's wrong with it. Wait, have that argument. What's wrong with
Look
it?
behind you.
Remix it.
You see two
Do you
computers
not
behind
get,
you?
when I'm on Twitter, do I not get information about what's going on within the world? I get my information off Twitter before everybody else does. But half the people in the General Assembly, like, Marcus has got inside secret information because half of them are old and they get their information at 6 o'clock when the news come on. I already got mine at 10 a.m. when it came across Twitter, news break, right? I guess how we get information. So what is wrong with you using Twitter, Facebook, or any of this information to be able to get information? You need to challenge them on the fact, what's wrong with it? So what, I got a text message. What? Are my grades an A? What? That is like, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with that?
Some of the things that would be wrong for the students to use on Instagram are like, there's like world star pages and inappropriate pages that we don't want the children to use while they're at school, and it's a distraction for their learning environment. We just want them to use it for educational purposes only, no outside purposes. So that's why.
And that's the other argument. And that's how the digital learning argument
But too bad he had to.
coincides. It's a beautiful argument. Because look, it's not about the app, it's how the app is used.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. It's not about the app. It's not about Facebook. It's about how Facebook is used. It's not about Instagram. It's about how Instagram is used. It's not about Twitter. It's about how Twitter is used. And so so you have filters. So you have filters that can be able to filter out all that information. Anybody got anything else they want to say about this bill before we vote on the bill? And then,
Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, your group, Representative McLeod, is your group ready to vote?
Yes, we're
You
ready
feel
to vote.
confident that you have the votes to pass?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We've got a bill entitled to use electronic devices in school, amended on line 1 that we would block 4G or cell use service. Also, we're going to include public-private partnerships to be able to include so we can get access to those who do not have access in the rural areas or areas where we cannot get it. We're going to include that in the bill, and we're doing it for the purposes because it's cheaper than buying textbooks, and it's also, we have the access to readily information. Is that correct?
But it's not cheaper than buying textbooks.
Really, yeah, it is.
Because you still have to pay for a phone, iPad, and stuff. What if one get broke?
You know how much a textbook is?
Same amount, but more.
Of course they are.
Really? I thought it was
Textbook is like $300, bro. Look at all these textbooks. Look at all the paper. Look at all the trees that we're killing to make
Okay,
these textbooks.
I just want to let you know that it is cheaper for us to go electronic. In fact, by the year 2016, we will not have textbooks anymore, period. We have eliminated textbooks in the state of North Carolina. So everybody's being forced to move to an electronic.
Dang, bro.
2016, after 2016, there will be no more textbooks. We will not be ordering anymore. So that is a fact. So this bill, Representative McLeod, I appreciate the bill because it's really relevant, because in 4 years, nobody in the state of North Carolina will have a textbook. So we're going to have to be able to figure out a way. We're going to have to figure out a way to be able to use electronic devices in the school because everybody is going to have one. All right. So thank you for your bill. All in favor of Representative McLeod and his team's incredible work on the bill entitled to use electronic devices in school, amended on line 1, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and moves to law. Representative Lee, please state your purpose.
Huh?
Please state your purpose.
Who's P?
Hey, Representative Payne, come on up. Representative Payne, please state your purpose. Okay, there you go. What's the name of your bill?
School dress code.
School dress code.
That's what she wanted.
All right, here we go. Let's have it.
You want to tell about it?
Or yield to someone to do it, whichever one you want to do.
Oh.
Can you go on about your business? Come on, what we doing?
You block the camera.
I apologize.
Go ahead. Did you yield to someone?
Yeah, me.
Okay, Representative Epps, please state your purpose.
I don't think school uniform is really
Necessary.
necessary. You know, because some people can't afford it, and some people.
Can I stop you right there, man?
What should I say?
Bag.
Representative Barrett, please state your purpose. You have to ask if she would yield.
No, I'll just play it.
Alright, you said people can't afford uniforms. Uniform costs less than just wearing regular clothes in school. Because, some people get picked on by what they wear, so when everybody wear uniform, everybody just wear the same thing, so nobody can really get picked on.
People still get picked on when they have uniforms on. People still get in fights when they do have uniform on. And people still are just like regular school, with uniform, without uniform, they just the same.
Alright. Go ahead, look, dog.
Representative McLeod, please state your purpose.
Will you yield to my question?
Yes.
Yeah, go
Who are you
ahead.
asking the question?
Oh, well, statement. Okay. If you feel like uniforms are so out of place, then why is it that at Scale, when we wear uniforms, we don't have as much bullying or any bullying at all, from what I can tell, and we still wear uniforms and we're all in dress code and we're all alike?
That's beyond.
That's why you have to ask a specific
Is there a
you don't
direct
have freedom, basically.
Is there a direct correlation between having cell phones and bullying?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to see some facts, oh no, I mean, it's still
Okay.
about dress code.
Okay.
Some people don't feel comfortable with wearing uniforms like this. Yes, like nobody want to wear uniforms and stuff like this. This is embarrassing, and I'm like, some people is ashamed to wear stuff.
I feel like
Some people can't wear their stuff and have to go buy uniforms just because they have to go to a school like this.
Well, maybe it should be.
We should stay on children so you won't have to go to school.
yeah,
Will you yield to my question?
yield that.
If you come to a school like this, you are here for a purpose.
Mhm.
You are here because you messed up in your other school, and that's the price you have to pay. Well, that's more of a statement.
Yeah.
And
What's that?
Right.
With our dress code?
no, that's what she just said.
There's schools that also have dress code that are not scaled.
Right.
Yes.
And they're
I don't want you to
like
focus
Smith.
this argument just because it's scales. I want you to focus on the argument that people have this.
Well, Smith have uniforms, and they fight almost every day. So it's
Okay, so
not just
but-
because you wear
Is
uniforms.
that number one?
will you yield to my question, Representative Epps? Okay. Epps. As you stated, you said Smith wears uniforms, and they fight almost every day. As I've seen, there are other schools who don't enforce uniforms, but those students still get into altercations almost every day. So, what would not having uniforms fix if you see that students who don't have uniforms still get into altercations and things like that?
It will help people. Okay, some people don't want to wear uniforms. Nobody wants to wear uniforms. Period.
That's speaking for yourself.
No.
I would like to wear uniforms.
So you like wearing a
Yeah, I like wearing a white t-shirt.
and khakis every day, looking the same every day,
I like it.
not being to wear your coolest shoes because you gotta wear uniform.
Yeah,
I mean, I can-
you can wear.
I see the lies and the lies.
You just okay. So you would rather go back to school and wear the same thing that you wear here?
Okay.
Because I don't have to wake up early to pick out outfits. I already know what I'm
So
wearing.
we've got one argument. I got one argument for you guys today. Your first argument is what?
Against school uniforms.
Some people don't have money.
Your first argument is why?
Oh, because people don't want to wear uniforms.
People don't want to wear uniforms. What's your second argument?
People can't afford uniforms,
People cannot afford uniforms.
especially if they already got a whole bunch of new clothes or a whole bunch of
Like for
clothes.
Christmas or something, you just.
I don't want uniforms for Christmas.
You get socks and underwear.
Yeah, get socks and underwear.
No, but then you still won't have uniforms. So
Spend your money on some nice drawers.
I wouldn't, you don't have the money for that, you have to wear what you already have.
I mean, you said anyway, so it's
Let's deal with the issue that we cannot afford uniforms. Please explain your position on that.
They're paying for it either way.
Anybody, in your group, explain your position on why you believe that people cannot afford
I'm trying to
school
say,
uniforms, and why is that expensive?
well, it's not even that, it's that nobody wants to wear uniforms. Teens, when y'all, you wanna show your style and stuff, I can't show my style with just, wearing just a white shirt and this.
That is not the argument of can't afford. That is an expression
Even
argument.
if you don't agree.
You're not allowed to express yourself, which is an argument, but that's not the same argument, okay?
Okay,
So, okay.
expressing yourself. Some students feel like expressing themselves would be to go punch a teacher in the face because they're expressing their anger. So just because you want to express yourself, does that mean that everybody can express themselves in different ways?
Yes.
Yeah,
They make y'all look bad.
Hey, y'all have a constitutional argument there.
Nobody ever asked me a question.
Okay.
Ask him a question.
To Representative
McCain.
McCain.
Yeah.
John McCain.
that's all I said.
So do you feel like that every student should be able to express themselves in any way that they want to, just because you can express yourself by dressing a certain way?
I do.
Literally.
Based on what?
What you mean?
Based on what?
Me.
Based on what? Explain it. This idea is not an answer.
Why do you have the right to express yourself?
Because it's a free country. We live in America.
Mhm.
This is why should I have to wear?
Can I, say something?
It was a free country. People had to wear locked up. Left and right. Like
Representative Epps, for what purpose do you
Yes, I think they should express themselves by their
but some students don't understand the fine line between just expressing yourself in clothes and expressing yourself
Okay,
by
well,
hitting someone.
If you say go express yourself, what
I mean,
Okay.
right, the one that doesn't really click like that, you know.
Nah, but seriously though,
Okay, and you said that you can't afford uniforms?
huh?
You said you can't afford uniforms?
I didn't say I could. I said
I mean,
some
I'm not
people
saying
can.
that you, like
okay,
some people can't.
so.
Yeah,
Some people can't afford uniforms. My uniform at Scale is $10 khakis and a $2 white
I mean,
t-shirt.
girls can buy $5 leggings.
Yeah.
But
And
you can't
$3
wear
shorts.
leggings here.
I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah, you
That's
can't
the
wear.
point. Nobody want to wear khakis.
How much is a typical uniform cost? $40?
Depends where you get it.
But you said $10 for
$50.
It
It costs $50 for a uniform?
No,
No, I'm saying, like, how much is a uniform?
it's designed to cost less than $10.
Yeah, $10. Okay, so you're spending less than $10, but some students can't afford to buy less than $10, but they can
They
afford to
buy
buy the new
regular
Jordans that come out on Saturday.
They don't want to buy uniforms.
They
That's a
don't want
different
to.
issue.
Life
Don't
is
mean
about
they
what
can't
you
afford
want. Like, I don't want to come to school, but I still come to school. It's not about what you want, it's about what's better for your general population.
Okay, so what is the uniform stopping?
The
How's
uniform
that
is stopping,
better
the uniform is stopping people from being out there and everything like that, you know what I mean? Like,
But you're still gonna do it when you leave school.
yeah, when you leave school, this
But
is
still wait
in
till
school. We're not worried about your uniforms on the street. I don't care what you wear on the street. When you're at school, if you guys are wearing uniforms, I want you guys to look as one. I want you guys to have your own individuality.
But who wants to
your own
look the same?
individuality, but not
Everybody got
like,
their own.
All right, the leader has a statement she wants to make.
No, I'm talking about her.
So you will want to go back to school and wear khakis and a white t-shirt every single day.
yes. I
Okay.
realize coming here how easy it is to get dressed in the morning. My bus comes at 9 o'clock. I wake up at like 8:45 because I already know what I'm putting on. Deodorant, a white t-shirt, and some khakis.
So you can't take a shower or nothing?
I mean, yeah, you can take a
shower.
shower. Okay,
So that means you wear
You
the
can
same
take a
clothes to
shower.
school?
Students, okay, some students miss the bus because they're worried about, I don't know what I'm going to wear.
But you can get your clothes out the night like you do.
Okay, but some students aren't as responsible as I am.
But some people, it's not,
That sounds
like,
like a
some
personal
people can just. wait
Well,
till
you
the
not
morning
wanting to
got
wear a
back.
uniform is a personal problem.
Have a seat.
And you.
Now, there's your constitution.
You do have a
Constitutional argument. What is
You
it?
have a big argument that like shuts down everything.
Yeah.
This
argument,
Bill of Rights is
so free.
I want to vote. Who wants to wear uniforms?
Number 3
Part of
is
the Bill of Rights.
number 3.
Huh?
What's number 3?
Express.
Express.
Freedom of expression.
I have a statement to make.
Yes.
Well, yes, the Constitution does have the freedom of expression, but the Constitution doesn't rule over the state, which deals with education.
Repeat it again.
Sit down. Sit down. He killed him.
He's almost right.
Reserve power.
He's almost right.
Repeat it again.
Say it again. Get up and say it again. He's almost right. He's close.
The Constitution deals with, or it has expression of power, or freedom of expression, but the Constitution doesn't deal over the states, and the states deal with education.
Elder's problem is
You
that
ain't got nothing to
the
say.
Constitution is supreme. And so the state cannot, we can't do anything that the Constitution says we can. If the Constitution says we have the right to free speech, the state of North Carolina cannot come and say, you do not have the right to free
I
speech.
got a question.
Thomas Jefferson would agree with you.
That is true. There is a thing called, we have a thing called federalism, which we could get into a whole other thing. But, go ahead, yes.
Can I get a vote real quick?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I want to explain this point because this is an important point.
They're not gonna vote.
Students, because you're minors, you don't necessarily always fall under the First Amendment. And that's your problem. And so that's the reason why people can tell you what you can wear and what time you have to go to school and what time you have to go home and what you can say and what you cannot say. You have freedom of speech, my friend, but you cannot go and cuss a teacher out, right? So there are limits to expression. You have the right, even if you had this right and it was not there, you will always have the right to express yourself. You cannot run down the street naked. And so, like, there are little laws and rules, even though we have all of these rights. You have the right to religion, but you don't have the right to give everybody poison and kill them on the top of a mountain in the name of Jesus. Like you can't do that. And so like we have all types of laws and rights that we can do, but there's always limits. You have the right to bear arms. Does not mean that you have the right to go to the mall and shoot people. And so we have all types of rights, but rights have limitations to them for the general population, like you said before. We would like to have a vote right now. Representative P has called for a vote. All in favor of us getting rid of the small clothing or releasing the dress code, please say aye. Please say aye if you're in favor of your bill. Aye. All in favor say no.
No.
But just this morning, I was like, I can't stay in uniform. No. Let me talk. Just this morning, I was like, I can't stay in uniform. I hate this school. I'm sick of uniform.
That's this morning. That's this morning.
But I lost all my rights when I did what I did to come here, so
Okay.
I can't do anything about that.
You like wearing uniform? It don't matter today.
Don't ask nobody
Stay in
individual.
uniform.
You got the job on.
Oh, so that's fine.
Oh, you didn't vote though. So it don't even matter what you think. You don't even vote.
Thank you.
It don't matter what you think.
Thank you.
Look, so I've got a tie, 4-4, ma'am. You're the only one that didn't vote. There's a tie. Now you can make it where there'll never be a dress code again, or you can keep it the same way it is. But you got to vote. This is what happens. So this is.
What's up?
King.
Are you gonna stick with your party, ma'am? Are you gonna stick with your party, or are you gonna cross over
Look,
and
he
get
is
the?
Exactly.
Which what you gonna do? You gonna vote yea or nay? It's all up to you.
It's for you. Is this for real? Like, you're gonna
Nay.
take that?
No.
Nay.
I can't take it we don't pass. But look,
So,
you
but
got a
if
team
I say
here.
yeah,
Are you gonna stick with the
take it up
Democrats,
there,
or you gonna go over there
we'll
with the
have
Republicans?
uniforms for life.
You about to graduate by the time they pass it, it don't matter.
Let's
go. She said no.
Let me just say, that's the best ever. Your bill failed.
They threatened her to say no.
By the time y'all pass.
Let me just
I got
say,
one more year
that
in
was the
high
best ever,
school.
because like, that's exactly what happens in the General Assembly. What y'all just did to her is what we call lobbying. And what we call, and then anytime that you hear, okay, you have a majority whip and you have a minority whip. The whip is entire, but that's what the whip is. Your child's supposed to whip your caucus in the shape. I don't care what you think, man. You got to be out of here. We need for you to vote. And this happens all the time. And the team that's in the minority, you cannot pass a bill unless you get somebody on that side to come over across with you to vote for it. This is how politics works. You'll never get a pass with 4 people, and the other people over there on the other side's got 5, and you got to go over to the other side, and you got to work with them and say, look, I'll give you a little bit of this if you come over here and vote for my bill. And you get the vote. Y'all should have picked her off early. That's how you win the bill. All right, real quickly, because I got another question on your sheet that we got to address. So you got to listen to this. And but guys, I just can't tell you how proud I am. You guys just resembled the General Assembly better than the General Assembly resembles itself. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And thank you for voting. See what happens when you don't vote? No change. No change. So, all right. So the other question is, who are your elected officials? Who knows who your mayor is? Who is your mayor? Who knows who your mayor is? Sorry for that grammar. But it's like, who is your mayor? Who's the mayor of New Greensboro?
I don't know.
John Doe.
Okay,
She was just elected.
she was just elected.
Oh, Nancy,
Nancy Drew.
Nancy Grace. Nancy Vaughn.
Yes.
ooh.
Nancy, I knew the first name though. I was on it.
Your mayor, let me just give you the structure, okay? You always have, and this goes from all the way down to your city to the president. You always guys know that you have an executive branch, and you have an executive, and then you have 2 forms of government, right? You have the House and you have the Senate. In the city, you have Mayor Nancy Vaughn, right? Now, who represents you at the city council level? Anybody know?
You.
Who's your city council person?
Doug.
I wouldn't know who your city council, because I don't know where you live, but my guess is that like either you got, anybody reading the paper about the guy that's about 26 years old and just won? He's a college student, college professor at A&T. Beat a guy that was like 55 years old, nobody could believe it. Anybody remember this? Anybody read about that?
I heard that. I know people in here are from all over the county too, so
Yeah.
it's very.
So your city, I want you guys to figure out who your city council person is. I don't know, because they have 8 districts, and depending on where you live, it's who your district is. So you could have Jamal Fox, you could have Sharon Hightower, who's new to the city council. You could have Zach Matheny, Nancy Hoffman, and any of those people. And so, Rashad, do you know who your city council person is?
This is for the students.
What about you? You know who your city council person is?
The guy voted for law, so.
Okay, that makes sense. So you have, listen, this is the way the structure works. You always have a person that's in charge, the executive, a mayor, then you have a city council, then you have a county commissioner. You also have a county person that represents you for the city, and they make laws for the city. Then you have a person that represents you that makes laws for the county. And then they all report to the mayor, right? That's how that works. In the state government, I am your representative. Who is your governor?
Daniel McCory, I think that's his name.
Pat McCory is your governor. Write that down.
Right.
Who is your state representative? Who's your state representative?
You said what you wasn't, and you said?
That would be me.
Oh, I already wrote you.
How you say your name?
Marcus Brandon.
If you live in the 60th district.
If you live in the city, well, I represent
I
everybody.
was in the 60s.
And Marcus Brandon, and because my opponent for Congress is your other representative, we won't mention our name because we don't give name recognition. But and who is your state senator? State senator. Anybody know state senator? Does anybody know that states? Look, there's a correlation here.
It's Tony Forrest, but he is he in there?
He's in Alabama.
Oh, okay.
And he lost. But
I know he ran against Helm. Cody.
yeah. Mayor Nancy Vaughn used to be married to Senator Vaughn, but he lost. And so now we have Senator Gladys Robinson.
Oh, I knew that.
Right back. Then that's when his brother Julian inboxed me. What's up with the
See how that works? You have a House person and you have a Senate person. Now we're going to go to the federal level, right? Federal level.
Can we?
You're going to go to the federal level. Who's the president of the United States?
Barack Obama.
Obama. Now, the same thing happens. Here I am, Marcus Brandon's in the House
Hey, who running this year?
for the state, and Gladys Robinson is in the Senate for the state, and we report to the governor, who is the head. Now we've got the Obama, who's the president of the, and we make this whole thing right here, we make law for the state of North Carolina. They make law for the Guilford County. And now this is the federal. They make, the federal makes law for the country. Right? So Obama's the president. Who is your House member?
Joe Biden.
No.
That is the vice president.
Depends on where you live in Greensboro.
I'm sorry, it depends on where you live. We have 2. One just announced he was going to retire, and one I'm running for Congress too now.
Didn't he just get appointed to?
You're running for Congress?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna vote for you.
I ain't
Thank
voting.
you, sir.
You got my vote. You can't
Um,
do it.
You have 2 United States congressmen. You have Howard Coble and Congressman Mel Watt. Those are your congressmen. How many of you guys know that?
I mean, for the name
Both
of
have been in Congress for
They've been in Congress since I was
20 years.
Actually, Howard Coble came to my kindergarten class, like I'm here right now.
Oh, it's not
So I was in
Coble?
kindergarten, and he just retired, and he's like a 98 or something.
Who?
It's like he's
You're
98.
98.
he's old.
He's still Howard Coble.
Howard Cole.
And who is your senator? You have have two senators in the
Howard,
state.
what's his name?
Howard Coble is your other congressman. And then you have two senators. You have two senators in the
One's a
state of
woman,
North
one's a
Carolina.
man.
Who are they? United States Senator.
Nancy Pelosi.
Wow. She's a congresswoman. But what is she?
Oh, she's from California.
Yeah, she's from California.
Yeah, so these people actually live in North Carolina.
You'll start seeing commercials for the woman. Actually, you probably have already seen a couple commercials for her because she's here in it for her runs.
Senator, and she's actually from Greensboro. She used to be a state senator where Gladys Robinson is now, and then she moved to go to the United States Senate, and her name is Senator Kay Hagan.
Oh! That sounds fair. Yeah, I heard that. Kay what? Kay Hagan. How you spell that? K-A-E?
And she's a Democrat, and you have the Republican.
And then we have a Republican, and his name is Senator Richard Burr. And those are your two senators.
If you all could, just give Marcus Brandon a hand.
Yeah, guys.
He did a good job.
This was a really cool opportunity that you guys got to see today to meet your representative and ask him, kind of get to know the hands-on. So thank you for being here. I thank you.
Oh, I had a good time.
Thank
Guys,
you.
awesome.